Good afternoon to one and all. Our today's class is for class 9th health and hygiene, and today we will be dealing about vectors, and we will be learning about disease caused by bacteria, disease caused by virus, disease caused by protozoans, and disease caused by elements. So here we will see today what is vector and pathogen. First of all, we will learn about vector. As I have said in the last class, there is a difference between vector and pathogen. Vector means one who is transmitting the disease. Pathogen means the one who is causing the disease. Now, so vector and pathogen, they both are different. Vector, one who is transmitting the disease, and pathogen, one who is causing the disease. Now, here we need to know that why the vectors and the pathogens are different. Vector means just they are transmitting the disease from one sick person to a healthy person. They are carrying the disease, we can say. Not transmitting exactly, we can say they are carrying the disease. But when it comes to pathogen, they are the disease causing germs. So basically there are three vectors especially we know about. Those are mosquitoes, houseflies, and cockroaches. So first of all, we will know about mosquitoes. Generally, three kinds of mosquitoes are very dangerous. Female Anopheles, female Aedes mosquito, and female Culex mosquito. Female Anopheles transmitting the germs of malaria, that is the protozoan Plasmodium. Plasmodium is the protozoa of malaria which is transmitted by the female Anopheles mosquito. Secondly, the female Culex mosquito, that is transmitting the larva of the Wucheria bancrofti. Wucheria bancrofti is actually a small worm which causes filaria, elephantiasis, which is also known as elephantiasis. And thirdly, the Aedes mosquito, female Aedes mosquito transmitting the virus of dengue and the yellow fever. So here you can understand the difference between the pathogen and the vector. So what is the vector here? Mosquito, different types of mosquito: Aedes mosquito, Culex mosquito, and Anopheles mosquito. Based upon these three mosquitoes, three different diseases. Culex carry the filariasis disease, Anopheles carries the malarial disease, and the female Aedes is carrying the dengue virus with itself. So mosquito becoming the vector, and the mosquito which is carrying the germs of the particular disease is that particular germs of the disease is called as, we can call it as pathogens. So pathogens, disease causing germs; vectors, disease carrying germs. Now next, so with this note we will start today's proceedings. So today's proceeding is about disease caused by the bacteria. What are the disease that are caused by the bacteria? So today's proceedings is based upon the same, disease caused by bacteria. So starting with today's proceedings, first of all, disease caused by bacteria generally consists of three main diseases: cholera, typhoid, and tuberculosis. There are many diseases caused by bacteria. Bacteria are the minute organisms, microorganisms, which is transferring itself from their environment to the environment of the human beings and the other living organisms. Now, these bacteria are so minute that they are very much easily transmitted through air, through water, through food, everything. Whatever is moving from one place to the other place, the bacteria can go with them. Along with the flow, the bacteria can go from one particular place to the other. Now, whenever we are talking about bacteria, so many people are having a belief that all the microorganisms are same. No, microorganisms are really different, completely different. There are several microorganisms. Bacteria are there, viruses are there, protozoans are there. So first of all, we will learn about disease caused by the bacteria in today's proceedings. First one. So disease caused by bacteria, first is cholera. Cholera is a disease where the person is passing watery bowels, means the stool will be watery. Whenever the person will pass out the stool will be very much watery. Now, what happens? The first symptom of cholera is watery bowels, means passing out loose motions or passing out watery stools. Abdominal cramps, abdominal pain will be there. Then the person may get fever. Whatever the person will eat, it won't be digested properly. It is basically caused by a bacteria known as Vibrio cholerae. Vibrio cholerae is a bacteria which is causing the disease cholera. Vibrio cholerae. So this Vibrio cholerae will infect our intestine as well as stomach, and thereby it will cause the cholera. So what are the major symptoms of cholera? Major symptoms of cholera are watery bowels movement, loose motions, then abdominal pain, sometimes fever, weakness, headache, tiredness. Now, what is its incubation period? Now, what is this incubation period? Incubation period means the time period. Incubation period means the time period between the entry of the germs and the first symptoms shown. The time period between the entry of the germs and the first symptom shown is known as the incubation period. So what happens here? Now a person is having cholera. When the symptoms will be shown? Between few hours to 5 days or 3 days. Between few hours to 3 to 5 days, the first symptoms will be shown. The person will feel tiredness. The person will not feel hungry. There will be loss of appetite. Due to continuous loose motions, the person may lose weight. Now, what is the treatment for it? How we can cure it? There are antibiotics found, or there are antibiotics which can kill the bacteria. Those antibiotics are generally tetracycline and chloramphenicol. Chloramphenicol and tetracycline are the two antibiotics which can fight against this microorganism. First one. So this is what about cholera. Secondly, typhoid. Now what is typhoid? Typhoid is caused by the bacteria known as Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi is a bacteria which can be very much dangerous, and it is caused by houseflies. Houseflies, one of the vector which is carrying the Salmonella typhi is the housefly. These houseflies are so dangerous that they are carrying typhoid, not only typhoid germs, they are carrying the germs of cholera also. I have talked about mosquito. Houseflies are also dangerous things. So these houseflies are also carrying the disease like typhoid as well as the cholera. So what happens? These houseflies will carry the diseases like typhoid as well as cholera, and they will keep on infect our food. Now how do these houseflies infect our food? These houseflies infect our food by sitting on the exposed foods, by eating them and vomiting there itself, by passing out stool in our food and thereby exposing the food into numerous amount of bacteria. Since they are vomiting in our food, whenever a housefly is sitting on our food, the housefly will try to eat as well as to vomit on that food. The housefly will try to eat that food and as well as to vomit on that food. Now, if the food is exposed and the housefly is sitting on it, the housefly will try to eat it and they will vomit over the food only, which is making the food very much unhealthy to eat. And unknowingly, when we are eating it, we are getting the diseases like typhoid and cholera. Similarly, the cockroaches also. The cockroaches generally found their residence in the damp, warm and dark places. Since they are the residers of the drains and the dirty places, so numerous amount of germs they are carrying. Cholera, germs of cholera, germs of typhoid, germs of gastroenteritis. So there are several diseases related to stomach can caused by cockroaches. Especially the cockroaches affected areas, people are sneezing also. Why? Because cockroach also carry some kind of allergens in the body, which is widely spread, and thereby the people are getting sneezing and different kinds of skin rashes and allergies in their body. So how to eradicate these things means how to remove the mosquitoes, houseflies and cockroaches from our environment. Time to time spraying of insect killers, insecticides. Time to time spraying of the pesticides also, because some of the cockroaches are so evoluted that even the insecticides are harmless for them. So we have to do it time to time. Now apart from that, what we can do, wherever we can see the stagnant water where the larva of the cockroaches or the houseflies or the mosquito can propagate, very soon we have to put kerosene oil or some greasy material so as to cut the oxygen supply in the water and the larva may die. And DDT also we can spray so as to have a good control over the house flies, mosquitoes, and the cockroaches. So we have to do a lot of biological things as well as the physical things what we can do to maintain proper personal and public hygiene. The moment we are maintaining, then these three, if we are able to eradicate mosquitoes, houseflies, cockroaches completely from our personal and public hygiene, then 80% of the diseases will be resolved. We will not get the diseases. 80% of the diseases will be resolved. So these three vectors are very much dangerous. These three vectors are very much dangerous. So what happens? Mosquito, houseflies, and cockroaches, these three are the vectors that they are causing lots of diseases in day-to-day life. So what to do? First thing is the prevention. How to prevent? To eradicate the places where they belongs to. Let's say they are belonging to a particular place at our home. So try to eradicate that place. How? By moving there, by shifting that particular place from that area. Means why to shift? Just to put insecticides there. Just if it is a damp place, try to clean it properly and then dry it properly so that the dampness won't be there anymore. So we can take initiative. We have to be very much neat and clean so as to eradicate these three insects. Now, having said about the disease, about the vectors, our topic about disease caused by bacteria, that is cholera, typhoid, and tuberculosis. I already spoke about cholera. We were going through typhoid there. Now, typhoid is caused by the bacteria Salmonella typhi, which is well being carried by the houseflies. Now, when this housefly sits on our food, which is exposed to the external environment, then these houseflies will sit on the food, they will eat the food, and they will vomit on it itself, thereby passing the Salmonella typhi bacterium to our food. And once the Salmonella typhi bacterium is passed to the food, if at all it is highly vulnerable, then surely when we are eating that food, it is causing damage to our intestine. It is causing damage to our intestine. And finally, what happens? Our intestines become very much problematic. And we will be getting loose motions, abdominal pains, vomiting tendency, lack of eating. And what is the incubation? The incubation period of typhoid is between 7 to 15 days. Means if today I am getting infected, means within 2 weeks the symptoms will be shown to me. My body will start showing the symptoms like fever, vomiting, especially the typhoid people, those who are having typhoid, the fever is increasing at night. So at the night I may have more than 102 or 103 degree Fahrenheit fever. So what happens here is that this typhoid is such a kind of disease, it is infecting not only the small intestine but also the stomach too, allowing you to eat very, very less. So that is why it's a great problem. Now, what is the medicine for typhoid? The medicine for typhoid is chloramphenicol, chloromycetin preparation, as well as ciprofloxacin. Chloromycetin is a drug. It was used to treat typhoid before 40 to 50 years. But since it is having huge side effect, that's the reason why nowadays chloromycetin preparation drugs are there. It means the chloromycetin drug is mixed with ciprofloxacin or some other drugs like chloramphenicol. And then we can eradicate it from our body. Now, tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is the bacterial disease caused by the bacteria Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And we all know about it. It is short form is TB. So what happens in TB, in tuberculosis? When a person immune system is weak and the person after a certain period of time getting this disease tuberculosis, then that person will start to cough. Incubation periods may be between 3 to 8 weeks. Between 3 weeks to 8 weeks is the incubation period. So that person will start to cough. Now, what happens? When the person will start to cough, the small droplets of the cough may come out of the sick person and it may contaminate or infect the healthy person. This is what happens in TB. Now, if the healthy person is having a good immune system, the healthy person won't be having the TB. But if he or she is having a weak immune system, the healthy person also may get the disease. So here we need to be very careful. So what are the medicines regarding Mycobacterium tuberculosis? There are several medicines used. Especially we are here, the doctors are using the streptomycin and isoniazid preparation drugs. Incubation periods means the time period between the entry of the germs and the first symptom shown is between 3 to 8 weeks. Now a person is having a cough more than 2 or 3 weeks, the person has to go for a TB test. Cough means not a normal cough, the person will keep on coughing continuously. Now symptoms, fever, then if at all it's an acute or chronic case of TB, the person, when the person will cough, the person will spit out blood. Beyond this, the person will start to lose weight. The person's lungs will be very much drastically affected, badly affected, not able to breathe properly. So these are the few symptoms, and treatment is, that is the isoniazid and the streptomycin preparation drugs. Streptomycin preparation drugs are used to eradicate this bacterial disease from our body. But at the same time, the BCG vaccine, which the young children or the babies are getting at the time of birth, is very much effective in not causing TB to the person, those who are vaccinated by BCG. Now, if a person is not vaccinated by BCG between 0 years to 20 years, means from infancy to 20 years, if the person is not being vaccinated, those person must be vaccinated by BCG so as to prevent Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that is TB infection in the body. Now, apart from this, when the person is suffered by TB, the person will not able to eat anything because of the cough. The weight will go drastically down, the body weight of the person. The person will have lack of red blood cells in the body, and the person will feel very much tired, and he or she may get convulsions. Convulsions means the person he or she may get the seizures. It means that the moment seizures means the moment the person will try to stand or do some hectic work, he or she feels certain kind of dizziness over the head and he or she may fall. So it's a very dangerous disease to cope up with. That's the reason why the government of India has they have started it a long way in the year 1997, I guess. In that year, the government of India has started the DOT system of medicine, DOTS. Means the government will have a direct monitoring over the person, those who are having this TB, and the government will give the medicines for free to that person, and they will have a regular monitoring and regular checkup for that person, so that they can see that whether the person's health is improving or not, and if not, then the government will take the next initiative. But before few years, before 70, 80 or 100 years, people used to feel that TB is a disease which cannot be cured. So that's the reason why people used to be very much afraid. But now the system has changed thanks to the BCG vaccine, as well as thanks to the streptomycin and the isoniazid drugs, which is acting very nicely into the patient's body and thereby making the patients very much fit and eradicating completely that disease from the patient's body. Now, next one is disease caused by virus. So here 3 diseases I have written. In bacterium also there was 3 main disease: cholera, typhoid, tuberculosis. In virus also 3 main diseases: HIV, chickenpox and hepatitis. So HIV, what is this? Human immunodeficiency virus. The virus itself is having a short form, HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. This virus will infect a particular person, that will cause the person AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Means HIV is just the name of the virus and AIDS is the related disease. Now, are they same? No, they are not same. Why? Because when the HIV, the virus content in the body increases day by day, that time only HIV takes place. Now what happens, I'm telling you here. Viruses are actually neither living nor non-living. They are a connecting link between living thing and non-living thing. Means as long as they are outside, they are non-living. The moment they are getting a host, they will start to live in your body and they start to propagate. Similarly, when HIV is out of the body, when the virus is out of the body, non-functional, no function at all. But as soon as they will get the blood, they will start propagating, they will start manipulating themselves, and they will grow in a huge population in your body, thereby increasing the population of virus in the blood and showing different kinds of system: skin rashes, high fever, swollen of lymph nodes and lymph glands, decaying of tooth, stomach pain, loose motions, So it is coming with a package of symptoms. Now, what is the incubation period? What is the incubation period? Incubation period of this virus is maybe few months to 15 years. At least few months to 15 years. Now, previously it has also got no treatment. But now there is a treatment. But not cure. I repeat, there is a treatment but not cure. Now, what is the cure of it? The patients having HIV disease, they are generally using the drugs made up of efavirenz as well as zidovudine. Zidovudine and efavirenz combination of drugs are used by the patients so as to keep the virus low, keep the viral count or keep the virus population in the blood low. Now, if the virus population in the blood is low for a particular patient, that patient will lead a very healthy life and a long life too. There are side effects, but those are very much minor. There are side effects, but those are very much minor. Now, how HIV takes place? Through needles, through improper sexual contact. If a person is having HIV and he or she is having HIV and the person is having a sexual contact with the other person who is not having HIV, he or she may get, means from infected person to healthy person, from mother to child in the womb, it can transmit from mother to the child in the womb. Apart from that, through the needles in the syringe, wherever the medical practices are not at a good level. So what happens there? The same injection is being injected to a different persons. Through that also, when the blood is transfused, when the transfusion of blood takes place, means from a healthy person to a sick person, the blood is transfused and the blood is not tested, and the person is having HIV. Then to the sick person to whom the blood has gone, that person will also means the donor who is donating the blood to the receptor, and the donor is having HIV, so the receptor may also get the HIV disease. So what happens here is that virus will keep on manipulating. So there is no treatment. The medicines will keep the population of the virus low. Now, if the viral count or if the population of the virus is low, then definitely the person will be leading a very healthy life. Now, next one is chickenpox. Chickenpox is also a viral disease. So, what is the virus responsible for it? That is varicella zoster. Varicella zoster is the virus which is causing chickenpox. Varicella zoster, Z-O-O-S-T-E-R, varicella zoster, V-A-R-I-C-E-L-L-A, varicella zoster. So varicella zoster causing the chickenpox disease. Now what happens here? When the varicella zoster attacks or infects a person with weak immunity, the skin will start to erupt with pustules. Pustules means small eruption, water kind of blisters in the body. And it will first appear in the stomach. That is the main symptoms of chickenpox. And what are the other symptoms? Fever, headache, vomiting tendency, sore throat, weightlessness, the weight will go down, tiredness, so the person will always feel very much sleepy. So I hope you can understand this. Now, what is the medicines for it? Now, here we need to know one thing. The bacterial diseases can be treated and can be cured also by antibiotics. We cannot use the word treated, we cannot use the word cured. The bacterial diseases can be very nicely cured by antibiotics. But when we are talking about viral diseases, they are playing the trick in the body. Viral diseases are not at all affected by the antibiotics. They won't be affected by the antibiotics. Why? The reason here is the bacterial cell, they are not having any protein coating on their body. But the viral cell, they do have a protein coating in their body, and which changes. Apart from that, the genetic material of the bacterium is the DNA, and the genetic material of the virus is the RNA. So there comes the difference. RNA, when it is dividing in a great manner, in a very faster and a rapid manner. But DNA, they do divide, but they do take time. And RNA genetic material can change very fastly, drastically, but DNA genetic material cannot change. So RNA coding may be changed. Very fastly it is changing. But DNA coding, if at all, it is changing also very slowly and with a pattern. But RNA coding is having no pattern. So none of the antibiotic can guess what the virus is doing. That's the reason why the virus will populate itself, or means the virus will reproduce itself in our body very fastly and in a very nice manner, in a very nicely way, in a very nice manner. They will propagate in our body. Now, what happens in the viral diseases? Almost all the viral diseases, the doctors are giving us antibiotic to eat. Why? The doctors are giving us antibiotic to eat so as to restrict the secondary infection. The other infection should not be there. Like, for example, we are having fever and we met a doctor and we got to know that we are having the common cold and cough, that is the rhinoviral infection in our body. So the doctor is giving us antibiotic. Why the doctor is given antibiotic? Not to kill the virus. Not to kill the virus, but to treat the secondary infections. If there is any secondary infection in the body, that should not be prolonged. Secondary infections like swelling of the stomach, swelling of the lymph nodes, sore throat means paining in the throat, then the lack of appetite. These are all the symptoms of the secondary infection. To reduce it, the doctors are giving us antibiotic. That is the reason why it is happening. Now, what happens in almost all the viral diseases? If the doctor is giving us antibiotic, it is just to treat the viral disease, not to cure. Treatment and cure both are different. Treatment means to lessen the severity of the disease, to lessen the severity of the disease, and cure means a permanent resolving. No, don't worry, after eating this medicine 7 days you will be cured, no problem. But treatment means that to lessen the disease. For example, diabetes. If the diabetic patients, they are not taking medicines, their sugar is getting high, again they will take medicine, again it will come low. But they are being treated, they are not cured. Means in their life there will be no stage coming that they have to stop the medicines. They have to take the medicines throughout the life. Similarly, HIV also, patients have to take the medicines throughout the life. Patients have to take the medicines throughout the life. Similarly, in chickenpox, so we cannot say in chickenpox the patient has to take the medicines throughout the life. Why? Because chickenpox is having a vaccine. Young children, those who have not got chickenpox till now, they can take the vaccine. But those who have chickenpox at least once in their life need not to take the vaccine. Stay free. Why? Because what happens once the chickenpox caused you, once you are affected by chickenpox, once the varicella zoster virus caused you chickenpox in your body, next time in your whole life, next time when the virus will enter in your body through any means, either through water or through air or through any means the virus is entering in your body will recognize that yes, before many years when the same virus came, I have made the antibodies, I have made the chemicals which has killed the virus. Now I have to make the same chemicals. So by that time, this chickenpox virus will start to propagate in your body. Those antibodies will start to kill the virus. So you will not get any symptom and you will be very much free. But that is not the case of HIV. Why? Because HIV, it takes time. By the time it will complete its term, the symptoms are already shown. But in chickenpox, what happens? Though they are showing the symptoms, and if you at all you are taking the medicines, then also there is no problem. After a few days only, their terms will be completed and the viruses will be dying in the body. But for HIV, this is not the case. Why? Because that is a very much tough virus to deal with. They are having a proper protein coat and their term is never completed throughout the life of the human being. The human being has to take the medicine continuously throughout their life. But chickenpox, they do complete their lifetime. They do complete the virus of the chickenpox, they do complete their term and automatically they are resolved from the body. So virus, they are not having any medicines. I repeat, virus, they are not having any medicines for cure. Only for treatment they are having medicines. Only for treatment. So that treatment keeps the level of the virus low. In chickenpox also, if the medicines are given just to keep the level of the virus low, by the time the term of the virus will be completed, so the level will be low only and your body will be not getting any kind of pain. That is the reason why. Now, Next one is hepatitis. Hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. There are five. A, B, C, D, and E. There are 5 kinds of hepatitis virus. Hepatic. What is the meaning of hepatic? Hepatic means related to liver. And hepatitis means that infection in the liver. So I repeat, there are 5 kinds of viruses causing hepatitis: A, B, C, D, and E. So what is the incubation period? That is 30 days to 180 days, means from 1 month to 3 months. Is there any medicines? There are medicines, but very much less effective. The best thing is to be vaccinated at the childhood itself. Once the vaccination is done, the person will having a very less chance to get HIV, to get hepatitis. So the patient having HIV may get hepatitis in the later future because their immune system is weak. But if they are on medications, there is a very less or no chance for the particular patient to get hepatitis in the later future. So hepatitis is also a viral disease. It is also a viral disease, means which is causing damage to the liver. Now once the liver is damaged, there will be lot of problem: vomiting tendency, pain in the liver, then no proper digestion of the food, abdominal pains, night sweats, means at the time of night sleep you will get a lot of sweat. Again, there will be the person will be losing weight. The person will be look very much very much weak and tired from outside as well as from inside. All the organs won't be functioning properly in the body, and skin rashes and all other secondary symptoms are also there. So there is no proper medicines. Medicines are there, but very much less effective. The only thing is to be vaccinated properly at the early childhood so as to prevent the disease in the later adulthood or in the later future. So this is what hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. Now, coming to the next topic, that is disease caused by protozoans. Disease caused by protozoans. There are again 3 kinds of disease: malaria, amoebic dysentery, as well as sleeping sickness. So first of all, we will talk about malaria. Malaria is a disease caused by the parasite, or not parasite exactly, we can say it protozoa, not parasite. Parasite because parasite means one who is feeding upon the other. So of course the germs of the malaria is not feeding, only the mosquito is feeding. So somewhere in the book it is also written malarial parasite, or sometime it is written malarial protozoa. So here both we can say, either we can say malarial parasite and malarial protozoa, but more specific will be protozoa. So what happened? The malaria is the disease which is caused by the protozoa Plasmodium. Here what happens, the female Anopheles mosquito, when it will bite a sick person, and from sick person it will go to the healthy person. From sick person, after biting a sick person, the mosquito will slowly go to the healthy person. What will happen here? Already the female Anopheles mosquito has bite the sick person and taken the germs of the Plasmodium. And now the female Anopheles mosquito is biting the healthy person. So the germs will be transferred from the healthy person to the sick person, from the sick person to the healthy person, and the healthy person will also get the malarial disease. So what happens here? It's a very deadly one, because we don't know which mosquito is Anopheles, or we don't know which is Aedes, or we don't know which is Culex mosquito. So the best way to treat is eradicate, remove the mosquito breeding stations, like the stagnant water, dirty places, damp places, regular spraying of the insecticides and the pesticides, as well as putting the mosquito repellents on. If at all we are living in a mosquito breeding area, then always we must put the mosquito repellent on so that it could fight. Then applying some good skin friendly lotions so that the mosquito should not bite. And the best thing is to put mosquito net. If at all we are putting mosquito net, we can be assured that 100% the mosquito is not biting us. So this is what the main thing, because there are a lot of complaints about the mosquito repellents because they are smoky, and it is very much allergen for the kids and the adults also sometimes. And at the same time, if at all we are using a lot of chemicals and all, it may be also harmful for us in one or the other way. So the best way, physically put a barrier by putting mosquito and then sleep on the bed. By putting a mosquito outside will not allow by putting a mosquito net outside will not allow the mosquito to enter in the mosquito net, and you will be safe. So that is one of the best part. Now, what happens in malaria? In malaria, the people's or the sick person will start to get shiver. Of course, in normal fever also we shiver, but malarial shiverness is different. Shivering of the malarial fever is different. If at all you'll put 2 or 3 blankets, also the person will keep on shivering. Now, apart from that, again loss of appetite, cold and cough, headache, vomiting tendency. Medicine, quinine preparation drugs are there. And based upon the infection of the protozoan in the body through the blood test, when we are understood that yes, this much we are infected, whether it is scanty means less amount of protozoa, M means more means more amount of protozoa. Based upon that, the injections as well as the medicines are prescribed by the doctors. So we cannot say directly a person having malaria go and take quinine. No, never. We cannot say it. Why? Because what happens here is that based upon the severity, means how much the protozoan has affected our body, based upon that the medicines will be given. Incubation period 15 days to 30 days. Means today if at all I am infected, then within 2 to 4 weeks the symptoms will be shown and it will become more severe. And sometimes malaria, if at all the malaria is very much acute, it is very much difficult to save the person's life. Similar for typhoid also. If at all it is very much acute, it is very much difficult to save the person's life. Though typhoid is a bacterial and malaria is a protozoan disease, but yet their chronic stage is very much dangerous and we cannot take the people back to life again. There will be a lot of difficulty. Now, next is amoebic dysentery. Amoebic dysentery is caused by the microorganism Entamoeba histolytica. I repeat, Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica is a protozoa which is being transferred from outside to our body through infected food, infected water, infected fruits, through those things, and as well as through infected environment also. If in our society a person is suffering through this disease, maybe through the fecal matter of that person, our water is also contaminated and we may also get. So this amoebic dysentery, Entamoeba histolytica, the bacterium actually. So what happens, Entamoeba histolytica is a protozoan, but sometimes this Entamoeba histolytica is sharing a very close relation with the amoeba itself. With the amoeba itself, it is sharing a very close relation. So sometimes the students are facing confusion that whether it is a bacteria or a protozoan. So don't be confused, it's a protozoan. Entamoeba histolytica, though it is sharing a very close relation with amoeba, but completely different from amoeba. So this Entamoeba histolytica, this protozoan is very much small, and when they are going to our body, they are causing a lot of infection in our small intestine. Loose motions, fever, abdominal pain, headache, again losing weight are the major symptoms of this amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis. We can also call it as amoebiasis. Incubation period between 7 days to 12 days. Means if today I am infected, within 7 days to 12 days the symptoms will be shown. Apart from that, what are the medicines could be used? Almost all the antibiotics can be used for the treatment of this disease. But the basic treatment is prevention. We should not go to the places, or we should not go to the places where the things are very much contaminated with this Entamoeba histolytica, like the dampness may have. The water, if the water is very much bad, we can get the disease. So that is the reason why we need to very much assure that whatever the food, fruits or water we are taking in must be very much safe and neat and clean. That is the reason why. So what happens here in Entamoeba histolytica infection, the person is very much tired. The person will not able to even walk if the stage is at a chronic stage, at a very serious stage. So I guess you can understand it. Now, next is the sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness is caused by the protozoa known as Trypanosoma brucei. Trypanosoma brucei caused the sleeping sickness, which is carried by the vector known as tsetse fly. Tsetse fly. Tsetse fly is the vector which is carrying the protozoa Trypanosoma brucei. Now, whenever these flies are biting us, it is transmitting this Trypanosoma brucei to our body, and the symptoms will be coming within 10 to 12 days. Like, what are the symptoms? Feeling very much tired, lack of interest in day-to-day's work, then in chronic stage fever, shoulder pain, joint will be starting to pain, all the joints, not only the shoulder joint, knee joint, elbow joint, each and every joint will start to pain. Fever may come and go, as well as vomiting tendency, not able to eat anything. Now, there are many medicines which are very much effective to treat this Trypanosoma brucei, but there is no permanent cure of it. The only cure is to the prevention. We need to prevent the disease. How? For example, the places where the tsetse fly are very much in a higher concentration, we must be using nets there, mosquito nets, so that those flies should not penetrate our body. Next thing, they are very much attracted towards blue light. Yes, they are very much attracted towards blue light. So what happens? We can shut down those blue lights. We should not use the blue lights. Instead of that, we can use some other color of lights. Apart from that, they are very much attracted towards running vehicles. So whenever we are in a car or we are in a bike which is very much running in a speedy way, we must cover ourselves properly, especially when we are crossing through the tsetse fly zones. Those tsetse fly zones carrying the protozoa Trypanosoma brucei will bite us, and within no time will be starting to showing the symptoms. So prevention is always better than cure. There are lots of medicines which are very much less effective, which is treating the disease, but at the same time we cannot guarantee that the person will be cured. So better thing is that we must be very much preventing it. We must be very much safe and sound, and we must be very much fit enough to prevent ourselves from the bite of those flies. Now, next is disease caused by helminths. Now, what are helminths? Helminths means worms. Helminths means worms, either round worms or flat worms. That is known as helminths. So helminths generally destroying the life of humans as well as the animals since time immemorial. Whenever they are infecting our small intestine, they are not only infecting our small intestine, they are infecting our lungs also, they are infecting our major organs also, as well as they are disturbing our day-to-day life. Now, with this note, first of all, we will start Ascariasis. Ascariasis is a disease caused by the worm Ascaris lumbricoides, especially the female Ascaris. Female Ascaris lumbricoides, whenever it will found a host for itself, that lumbricoids, Ascaris lumbricoids, will start to grow in the intestine of the host, especially the female, by laying eggs. Now, once the egg is laid, it will start to propagate in our stomach, and especially in the small intestine. Especially, these worms are generally affecting to the children below 15 years of age. And between the age of 5 to 10, it is more common. Especially from 0 to 5 also it is common. So till 15 years it may affect. Then the young children cannot gain weight. If a particular young child is affected by this Ascariasis disease or Ascaris lumbricoids, they may not gain weight. They may not eat proper food. Their physical and mental development will be retarded, will be slowed down. These are, though while telling it is very much simple thing, but when it is happening to a particular child, it is rather painful. Because once the mental and the physical growth of the child is stopped, the child cannot put a logical thinking around. The child cannot compare their position to the other. The child cannot be being educated properly. The child cannot sleep, or the child cannot take rest properly. Restlessness is also there. So what happens when this worms or eggs of the worms is hatched in our stomach, slowly it will start to grow. Now, how it happens? For, let's say, a particular host is suffered from Ascariasis. and that host is passing out stool outside. Those stool will contain the egg. That egg will stick in the vegetables, and when we are cooking the vegetables and when it is not properly cooked, it will start, those eggs will go inside and it will start to grow in our body. Especially this is also takes place in the humans as well as in the cattle too. Now what happens? Once the worm went inside the stomach, the egg hatched, the worm started to grow. Slowly it will infect the lungs. We will start to cough. And while we are coughing, the eggs, small, very small microscopic eggs and microscopic larvae of the worm will come out through our mouth as a spit. And now it will infect the others also. So this is how the pathogenesis, means the spreading of the disease and the life cycle of the worm continues from one sick person to the other healthy person. Its symptoms: stomach pain, headache, then itching in the area through which the stool is passing, that is the anal area, anus area. Then the person will not be able to eat. Again, the weight will go down. Sometimes loose motions also. Prolonged stomach pain. Then the person will have cough, increase of eosinophils in the body. Eosinophils, the white blood cells, the part of white blood cells, WBCs, eosinophil will start to increase in the body. Cold and cough. Now, medicine is albendazole, mebendazole. These are the medicines used to kill those worms. Apart from that, what is the incubation period? Incubation period may be within 5 to 20 days. Means if the egg has reached, it will take some time to get hatched. The shell of the egg will be dissolved by the intestinal juices and the worm will come out and it will start to show the symptoms in our body. Now, this is what about the ascaris, especially the female ascaris is causing this. Now, next one is Taeniasis. Taeniasis is caused by Taenia solium. Taenia solium is a worm. It is also a worm which is generally found in the pig as well as in the cow. So when the infected pork or when the infected beef is taken by human beings, at that time what happens? These worms will again found their residence in our small intestine and they will start to grow. So infected pork or infected beef, or else if the pork or beef is not well cooked, it is kept raw or it is not at all well cooked, then there is maximum chances of these worms to hatch, these worms' eggs to hatch in our stomach and to grow. What are the symptoms? Vomiting tendency, continuous pain at the middle of the stomach, then continuous loose motions, not able to eat anything because whatever we are eating, the worms is taking the nutrition of it and it is growing. And sometimes it will become so long that it can reach till the brain. Both ascaris worm as well as Taeniasis, both they can become so long. They can reach till the brain, and if they are reaching brain, then it is very difficult for the person to survive. Very difficult. The person may fall down, the person may feel dizziness, or the person may feel very much uneasy, restlessness, seizures, convulsions, vomiting tendency, headache. These are all the symptoms. So this Taeniasis is being cured by one medicine known as niclosamide. Niclosamide preparatory drugs can attack this larva of the worms or the worm itself and can kill it. Incubation periods, again, it is less only. The time period which the egg is going and it is taking, that is not more than 10 to 15 days. So within 2 weeks the infection will be shown. But one thing is there, that Ascariasis or Taeniasis worms are affecting more the young children. The children between 0 to 15 years of age. After 15 years of age, there is abrupt increase in the immune system of the human beings, either male or female. There is an abrupt increase in the immune system, which will not allow this worm to propagate in the body. So those human beings are quite safe. I am not saying 100% safe. If at all we are taking contaminated food, contaminated water regularly, then automatically we are inviting these worms to our stomach to grow up. And that's the reason why they can cause lots of harm to us. Now, next one is filariasis, last one. Filariasis is also a disease caused by the worms. As I told you, the female mosquito Culex. When the Culex mosquito is biting a person having filaria or elephantiasis, they are actually sucking the blood. While sucking the blood of the infected person, they are taking the larva of the worm in their mouth, those Culex female mosquitoes. And now when they are biting the healthy person will also get the same disease, because the larva of the worm, which is once carried by the Culex female mosquito, has now bitten a healthy person. That healthy person, in the body of that healthy person, the larva of the worm, Wucheria bancrofti, the name of the worm, Wucheria bancrofti, that larva of that worm will slowly enter into the bloodstream, and in the bloodstream they will start to grow longer and longer. Now what happens? When they will start to grow, they will block the lymph vessels, lymph nodes or the lymphatic glands will be blocked. And once they are blocked, our body will start to swell, especially the hands and the feet. That's the reason why you might have seen some people having filaria are having swollen legs. Why? Because the lymph vessels are blocked by the lengthening of the worm. Similarly, the transmitting of malaria by the Anopheles mosquito, similarly the Culex mosquito is also transferring the disease in a same manner. Culex mosquito, female Culex mosquito is also transferring the disease in a same manner, just like the female Anopheles mosquito transmitting malaria. But at the same time, malaria symptoms, drugs, everything is different. Here the drugs is diethyl carbamazine. Diethyl carbamazine is the drugs which is treating filariasis disease, but it is not completely curable. Apart from that, it is also having an incubation period between 3 days to 30 days. Now, having said all about this, the one thing what we would like to know is, for example, when we are talking about the various diseases in our surroundings, disease caused by bacteria, viruses, protozoa, helminth. So disease caused by bacteria and virus having few things common: high fever, cold and cough, nasal congestion, chest congestion, sore throat. So you can say some 4 or 5 symptoms of this bacteria and the viral diseases are very much common, and you can write for any bacterial and viral diseases, so it won't be wrong. For example, high fever, sore throat, nasal congestion, cough congestion in the chest. These 4 symptoms are very much common in bacterial and viral diseases. So this is one of the trick how to learn it. If at all you have forgotten any symptoms, you can write it. The marks won't be deducted. Similarly, whenever we are talking about disease caused by protozoan, so malaria, amoebic dysentery and sleeping sickness, there is nothing common as such. Malaria is also a protozoan disease, though they are protozoan disease only, but their symptoms are very much widely different. But their 4 symptoms, as I have told: high fever, cough, nasal congestion, chest congestion. These 4 symptoms are common in bacterial and the viral diseases. But for this for this disease caused by protozoans and disease caused by elements, there is nothing common. But at the same time, when we are talking about malaria, amoebic dysentery and sleeping sickness, one thing we can write common, that is, if the concentration of the protozoa increases in the blood, the person may get loose motions. So I hope you can understand through this video. If any doubts, you can ask. Thanks a lot.